Dani, we'll start with you to provide some history. Before you coached North Melbourne, you actually played 99 games, including the 96 premiership. Take us back through the first time you walked through the door in 1993. We've all changed since then, but from your perspective, create that picture of how much the club's changed.
Oh, it's changed significantly. First day in Melbourne, Ron Robertson I think he was a recruiting manager at that point in time, and we went up to Errol Street and had something to eat and had our young son with us. And I didn't put him in the car seat because it was just around the corner from the club. And we came just down the road here and got T-boned. The baby seat split in half, and I had my son in my lap, who's now 6'4" and 30. Rolling up here, the old scoreboard was still over there. It was a mess. All the terracing was still here. I did some work as the groundsman, cleaned off the bird shit off the grandstand, and it was amazing. But what I learnt very quickly was North's greatest resource was their people, and that came from Greg Miller, and that's, I think, held the footy club, certainly for me, what I've learned, in really good stead. We've always been really rich in regard to the cultural bank, and today's announcement, we can start at the line now with everyone else instead of being 40 metres behind. But it's really important we don't lose that cultural richness of the footy club. So with all that, it's significant.
And so you retire in 97 and 6 years later you come back to take charge for a further 149 games. And you just touched on it then. How difficult was it to coach a team with the purse strings so tight when you saw other clubs redevelop in front of your eyes one year after the next?
It was really interesting. And Walsh never told me this when he gave me the job. But 2 days later, he rang me and said, we need to catch up. And by the way, we need to lose $1 million out of the salary cap. So we went down to about 88%, and we had to trade some players. But there was also a senior player who dropped about $300,000 back in those times and paid for the basic, the minimum wage at that period of time. And that was what, the footy club did. Apart from the rats running across my desk, and our old mates in the grandstand would walk down and walk through training, say good morning. It was fun, and I loved that old facility. And I'm very proud today. It's a significant day. It's probably the first time that I've represented my old tribe and my new tribe today, and it's a significant week for us. But I think, going forward, the club's in great hands, and as I said, if we can meld those two things together, it will be significant for us.
So Brad, you walk in the door in 2010 and you stay for a decade. But at one stage, not even knowing whether you're probably going to be moving back to Queensland. How hard was it you knowing that the club's financial survival was so often questioned, especially around that 2007 period?
Yeah, Tiff, it was incredibly difficult. But fortunately, I was an ignorant 33-year-old who didn't know what I was in for. So, but I was really schooled in. I'd come from a very well-resourced club as an assistant coach, and my first thought was, how are we going to, one, convince young draftees that this is a place where you're going to reach your full potential, and secondly, how are we going to retain them? And I still remember the first 3 years, 2009, 10, 11. I don't think we spoke about football at any board meetings. Maybe the directors spoke about footy after I left the board meeting, but the whole focus was on survival. The club had made the brilliant and brave decision to remain here in North Melbourne, and reject the significant and financially lucrative offer to move. But it was still, it was precarious through those years. And, the work that all of the board, Peter would be very embarrassed at all the accolades that he's received today, but he deserves all of them and more. And Eugene was a rock for me. He was fantastic, and we really, I think, the thing that I'm probably most proud of is that not only did we and have we reduced the debt over time, but there's been significant investments in this football club, and we see that the physical facility we're hearing today, but it's the investment in people. You look around, this area today, and there are so many faces that have contributed so much to this football club and still come back and regard it as their club. And we not only retained our players. I don't think we lost any players over that 10-year period, even though it was a real challenge at times. But there's something special about this club, and it's very hard to define. We've tried over time to define what it is, but it really is intangible. And unless you're part of this club and you're a member of this club, it's difficult to describe. But as James Brayshaw always said to me, you know it when you see it. And it was a real privilege to be a part of this club, and it's really helped me grow and develop as a person. And everyone that has contact with this football club is better for it. So it was a massive leap of faith that James and Eugene took on me. But as I hear Darren Crocker say all the time, when you're a part of North Melbourne, it gives you more than you give it, and that was certainly the case for me.
And yeah. Thanks, Brad. And David, you're announced senior coach late last year. How important is today's announcement for the football department and for the future of the club?
I feel very privileged, Tiff, to be here today and sit next to Dani and Brad. Talk about shinbone of spirit. The contribution that these people have made before me, this is shinbone of spirit. And you can't help but be inducted and touched by that spirit when you walk in the place. Makes you fall in love with the place even more. I think its surety is the confidence that our club now has moving forward for all our people and our players, men and women alike. And as I said, I'm a little embarrassed to sit here with knowing the depth and the effort and the blood, sweat and tears that these people have put in to allow me to step into a club in this position is just phenomenal. And I thank every single one of them.